metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Jen Cruz, your host tonight, and this is the Journey Radio Show. Hey, we're showing up as the She-Squatchers again tonight. So I've got my trusty teammate here in the air with me and the airwaves. Hi, Jena Grover. Are you there?
Yes, and I'm so proud to be here. Guess what? Again, I'm very excited.
Jena is always excited.
I am. I'm so excited. Well, we have such good guests on the show all the time. So, what else am I supposed to say? But I'm excited. You know what I mean?
True, very true. Well, I'm super excited about our guest tonight. Let me tell you all a little bit about him. We've got Thomas Shay. He's the founder of the Northern Kentucky Bigfoot Research Group. And since his first encounter in 1987, Thomas has devoted his free time and resources to the study of the creature known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Mr. Shay currently possesses the largest collection of original Bigfoot casts east of the Mississippi. He is endorsed by Cliff Barackman and James BOBO Fay of Finding Bigfoot as being one of the best researchers in the country. Thomas appeared on Finding Bigfoot Season 5, Episode 1, as well as having been the guest on several podcasts and news programs over the years. He's now retired, so Thomas spends his time researching and sharing his knowledge with the Bigfoot community, and he lives in Trimble County, Kentucky, with his wife and 10-year-old son. I gotta say, Thomas, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Awesome. Thank you and welcome for the show. I got to say that when we were in Kentucky at CryptidCon last September, the day after the event, I was down having breakfast. And here comes Bobo and Cliff from Finding Bigfoot. And we started chatting again and told them that our camping had gotten canceled because of all the rain that had happened, that they said that the camping area was completely washed out. And so we were bummed now because we'd planned extra days there and we'd flown down there. So it's not like we could leave and go home early. And he said, well, let me see if I can get a hold of Thomas Shay. Bobo said that. He's like, he was the guy that you were the guy that he recommended to go out with in that area. So we were sitting on our phones waiting to hear from you, but sadly we didn't. But I figured it was probably too wet to go out anyway. If someone else canceled on us, we figured you probably thought it was too wet and muddy to go out there too, which totally understand because I was outside during one of those rainstorms. It was like buckets of water coming down, wasn't it?
Oh, it was terrible.
It was terrible. But anyway, we were glad to meet you, and you had such an impressive display of Bigfoot casts at the event. How many Bigfoot casts do you have?
As of today, I have 279 now.
Wow. And you made all of those?
Yes. And that's over a period from 1989, really, until now.
That's wonderful. Well, how did you get started in this, in interested in Bigfoot?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't believe in Bigfoot at one time.
I was there with you.
Me too.
I watched all the shows when I was a kid and stuff. Like, I was fascinated, but I didn't believe anything. I lived out in the woods. But I was in the service at the time, and I came home for leave to see my parents and stuff for a week. And I'd been home about 3 days, and an ex-girlfriend called me up and said, I heard you was in. Why don't you come on up here and we'll go out and do something. I said, sure. So, I got ready and stuff like that. And that afternoon, I was driving up the road, US 36. That's along the Ohio River. And it was pretty warm out. I had a short sleeve polo shirt on, and the windows rolled down. And up ahead of me, I was noticing, why is this guy up here, this tall man up here, got this big old fairy coat on. And this is and when it's still late daylight. Just getting a little bit dark. Starting to get dark. And and as I drove up, and I see how massive it was, and I slowed down, and through the passenger window, got a good look at it, and I couldn't believe what I saw. I didn't believe it at all. So I went up, turned around, and come back, and he had already crossed the road. So I pulled off, got out of my car, and went down the field, and actually chasing it because I thought maybe it was a man in a suit or something like that, you know. But it turned on me and it growled at me, and it was like almost 100 yards, and I was like, you know, what am I doing out here? So I turned around, went to my car. Now I went home and told my parents. My parents goes, "You been drinking?" I said, "No."
Huh.
And I said, they rigged me a little bit, and they said, "Well, you gonna go up there and see your ex-girlfriend?" I said, "I ain't going out of the house tonight." I mean, it shook me up that bad.
Wow.
But
How long did it take for you to actually go somewhere in the woods again after that experience?
I was out there. I had to see it again.
Yeah.
It's addicting. It
It,
is.
even though I saw it, I still didn't believe it. I had to find out if what I saw was real.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've seen it again.
And
Yeah.
how did that go for you?
Well, not too good. I was excited. I thought I got a video of it. It was only like 30 feet from me.
Oh my gosh.
uh, uh, and that was here back in 2014. I had just run across a fresh trackway, and I said, "Boy, these are fresh," and I'm excited. These are really good. You know, I've never seen prints. The toes were looking good and everything like that. So I got off my four-wheeler and I grabbed all my stuff out of my utility thing, and I started casting. And I'm down here on my knees, casting away, and I'm waiting for them up to form up and everything and cure so I can get them out. And I'm taking photos, and about that time I smelt something, and I'm thinking, "Whoa, the wind changed, and there's a dead carcass over here, or somebody's septic tank down the holler backed up." So about that time I looked up toward my four-wheeler, and on the other side, this thing stood. And I mean, from where I was and where my four-wheeler was, it was 30 feet. And it was on the other side.
Wow.
And it seemed like it was a long time. I looked at it in the face, and it looked at me, and we stared at each other. I was afraid to move, and I think it was afraid to move. But finally, it just lifted its nose up in the air and sniffed a little bit and grunt and went over the ridge. While he turned his back and started walking away, I had one of these flip phones at the time. And I'm excited, and I hit the video, and when I hit video, I also hit the switch.
Oh,
But I didn't know I was filming myself.
oh no.
On the video,
That
I'm,
stinks.
on the video, I'm telling Rodney's my partner. Me and him just got together and started working together. And on the video, I'm saying, "Rodney, look there. I got it, buddy. I got it." So I call him up and tell him what I got because I'm on my way home. I left my casting and everything there at the site to get home to this video. So I get home, I hook it up, I download it, and I had big alligator tears. All I got was
Oh.
my chest where I'm videotaping. But you can hear me talking, you can hear it walking away. But we went back in there 2 days later, and I had Rodney with me and two other people, and we jumped to juvenile.
What do you mean you jumped to juvenile?
Yeah, it was hiding in the brush,
Okay.
and I told everybody to stop a minute because I seen something down there in the brush, and I thought maybe it was somebody down there scouting the place out for turkey hunting and stuff like that. And I said, "Let's see what this is, and who this is, what it was." And as soon as we moved up a little further, this thing jumped up, went across around this ridge, and it was out of sight in no time. It wasn't big and lanky. It was pretty small, about 6 foot. It wasn't massive.
Kind of like a big man for us, like an actual
Yeah.
tall man for us.
But this ridge that it ran across the edge of was so steep that me and Rodney, we were holding on to trees trying to stay from sliding down to follow it.
Wow.
And, it took us at least 20 minutes just to get around the bend. And this thing here, just no problem at all.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you both got to see it.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. We love Rodney. He's awesome too. Shout out to Rodney. He was one of the good singers at the karaoke night at the event. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He actually has a great voice. I was really shocked. I was like, what? Everybody here who looks for Bigfoot has a great voice. What's going on? This
Well,
is
that's
weird.
not true, Jena. Only the people who had great voices got up to sing.
That's true.
I wasn't up there singing.
But you could have been dancing for my singing, and then we could have been like the Jen and Jenna show.
Lord, I don't know if anybody would want to watch that show, but
I don't know either. Sorry. Oh goodness.
I'm sorry. We get goofy. We have too much fun, I think, sometimes.
Oh, you do. I just can't believe you've seen so many, and that was in such a short time. That was all in the very beginning.
No, the first one was in '87, and the second one was in 2014.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they happened pretty close to one another.
No.
Those two did, though,
Yeah.
when he did the video, and then went back with Rodney, and later than that was pretty close together.
What
That's
a
pretty cool.
But what a letdown. And I understand. It's like you really think you got that video. And then all of a sudden, for me, it's like, dang it, I hit the picture button because I got the video going and then it took a picture instead, because I pushed the stop button and it was like, no. So I completely understand. And I understand why you actually cried crocodile tears. It's serious, especially if you can prove to people when you finally have something to show. And I bet it would have just been an awesome video. Was it clarity and everything?
I actually don't think it would make any difference.
No.
It wouldn't. Somebody would always say it's a fake or whatever, until you bring a body in or bones or something like that. You ain't, nothing's going to be real.
I completely agree. I keep telling the girls on my team, we are doing this for us. We're doing this for us, and we'll share with what we have with other people, and they can do with it what they want. But we got to make sure that we're doing this for us, because we're going to be crushed if people come back and start talking bad about what we brought back or calling it a hoax or whatever. So I've been saying it from the beginning. We just got to make sure we're doing this for us. Because no matter what, everybody won't accept what you bring back.
But, I've had people say I hoax stuff and everything like that too. But, I let it just roll off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to prove to them or nothing like that. All my stuff goes to Cliff, and Cliff gives all my stuff to Dr. Meldrum.
Very cool.
Not one of my prints have come back as fake,
That's wonderful. How can you describe for the listeners how to tell the difference between a Bigfoot print and say prints that are commonly misidentified?
In all actuality, you really can't. That is one of the biggest mistakes researchers have. They go out here and they see these prints. Okay, well, they don't show no toes. They don't show this. They don't show that. They don't look that good. Everybody's wanting that perfect print. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I've only got so many perfect prints. That's because I was there at the right time and the right place. And the other ones maybe got partial toes. Some of them don't even show the toe, but show the metatarsal break and all that. It's when you cast it. And when you cast your print and then you sit down and you study it. Okay, I mean, uh, I told you I got 200 and something casts. I also got about 100 other casts that are it's nothing. Just depressions. But I was in doubt. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cast it and make sure. Every print you cast tells a story. You know, and that's just it. Have fun with it. When you go out there, take you some casting material, and you see a depression, you think not only is you might waste some, but it's good practice. And take it out and check it out real good. I mean, that's one of the biggest things you got to do.
Well, and not only that, I mean, I think it's great that you're saying to bring it out and cast and practice. Like we've run across such beautiful prints of other animals, bear prints, deer prints. You've got just amazing prints, and I'm always like, oh man, should we take one of those? But there's a lot of mixing that's involved. So unless we're gonna do it, we need some pretty big prints to be able to, get everything out there.
What do you use for casting material?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I use regular plaster of Paris, but I got a special ingredient that I put in. It's a mixture of salt and baking soda. And it makes it become really kind of hard, and it doesn't break, and it doesn't become brittle like regular plaster of Paris. I worked on that mix for almost 10 years to get it right. And sometimes I'll even mess up and put too much in one end or too much in the other end. It all depends on where I'm at and to the condition of the ground. If it's too wet, you got to subtract some ingredients, and if it's too dry, you got to add some stuff. So, you just got to work with it.
Well, we went out and bought 75 pounds of dental stone.
Well, that's pretty penny, wasn't it?
It was.
It wasn't too terribly bad if you think about it. I mean, because we looked at a lot of other things that people were using and that were recommended. And, well, I don't think that was maybe like $75.
We got it from a dentist.
Yeah.
And the local dentist sold us a big box of it. And boy, we were kind of, it was fun to carry around in the car. But in and out.
Well, tell me about it. They didn't have an elevator. I had to walk down these flights of stairs. And then I didn't realize how big it was or how heavy it was. It was like 100 pounds. And
75 pounds, actually, Jena.
Oh, was it exactly 75? It was 5,000 pounds. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so it was 75 pounds. And exactly. And so I had it in my arms. I was like, man, this is going to be kind of tough. So, when you're taking each step, it's like, oh, I mean, it's really hard when you're trying to walk upstairs. You're trying not to fall backwards, not to fall forward.
I think it's easier for the guys. They're a little bit stronger than you are.
Oh, baloney, Roni. My muscles are so good. I lift weights. I got that 75 pounds up that stairway.
Oh, goodness. She's so buff.
I pretend I am.
She can be the buff one.
How much, when you buy your plaster of Paris, how much do you buy at a time?
I go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy them big bags. And then what I do is I take them gallon plastic bags, zip bags, and mix it out. And 2 pounds, 4 pound increments. It all depends on where I'm going to go and how much I want to carry.
Okay.
Very smart. Smart.
Very smart.
Don't take the whole box.
Yeah, just get you some little gallon baggies, and if you want to take 4 pounds with you, put a pound in a gallon baggie, and make sure you weigh it out. That way you can know how much mixture you got.
So how are you mixing it? I mean, are you pouring the water and your special ingredients in the bag and mixing it with your fingers, or are you putting it in a bucket and
I carry
it?
Everything I do comes out of my own pocket. Okay, I'm not that rich or nothing like that. So
yeah.
I go to the Dollar Tree and I pick these little plastic bowls up, and usually I just carry one of those with me. And after a while, they get brittle and stuff like that, and they break and crack. You know, you know I can buy 4 or 5 of them for $1. And that's what I use.
That's a
Very
really
nice.
good idea.
Now, I did try to use the plastic bag one time, but I got one of these grips. When I was mixing, I popped the bag.
Oh, yes.
So uh, that's why I started carrying a bow with me, a plastic bow.
There you go. Very smart. Very smart. Well, if you ever want to share your secret recipe with us, we'd be open to receiving it.
We never share it too. We're very, very serious about that. We don't. If someone doesn't want us to share something, we don't. So
Yeah, but when we're out squatching, we're typically traveling a ways from home, so we like to bring enough just in case we find a whole trackway, because we have found a whole trackway before.
Hmm.
And if we had had enough along that time, we would have probably cast all of them, you know. Um, but we only had what I brought along, and so we could only do two. But now I'm like, well, what if we find something like that again? We should bring the whole box.
Well, that's true because it's like the trackway I found. I casted 2 prints out of it, left and right. But as I went on up further, I found one that was just a little bit different than the rest of them. It was the way the ground was more flexible and the foot was flexible, and the toe spray was a whole lot different than everything else. So I casted that too. Uh, Usually I just cast two, but if I find one that's a little strange, I'll cast it. Uh,
Very nice. Very nice. We found a trackway in a gravel pit going all the way up this steep hill, and we tried to cast it, but it didn't turn out very good at all. Um, and since then, we've gotten some pointers from different people, maybe how to get a better track out of a gravel pit if we find something like that again. But it just seemed to move the gravel too much. So, but we were pretty excited. The pictures were awesome.
was it like in pea gravel or?
The gravel, like a gravel pit. It was a tall, tall hill, and it was very, very steep. We showed the pictures and everything to Bobo, and when he saw the angle of how steep it was, he's like, "Whoa, that had to be a squatch. That couldn't have been a bear or a man because it's too steep." Jena and our other teammate Nikki had climbed up the hill next to the prince, and it was quite entertaining watching them go up. That's why I didn't do it. Um, they were crawling on their hands and feet, and they would take a step and they would slide back down in the gravel. So I mean, but this with the prince, it walked all the way up to the top without putting its hands down, and it was very clear prints when we found them. So it was very, very neat. Very, very neat. It probably had just gone up the hill when we drove up in there.
that's what I'm honestly wondering, how soon before it went up the hill, because they wouldn't have, the way the gravel was, there's no way that those prints would have been there for another 24 hours,
Not
48
like that.
hours. They would have
Oh,
just kept sliding and sliding.
Mhm.
So
It was neat. It was really cool.
yeah.
So
Wait,
that was fun. It was a fun find.
wait a minute.
All the finds are fun.
Do you have any thoughts on gravel pits? I mean, as far as casting, do you have any ideas that might help us in the future as far as gravel pit?
I've casted in some really like gravel and creeks and stuff, and I use a. You can buy this. The CSI people use it like for snow and everything like that to spray. You can buy it. It's really costly, but it lasts for a long time. I can't last for a long time, and that's what I would use.
Do you remember the name?
No, you just look up criminal investigation uh, footprint spray. Google it, and they'll tell you.
Cool, thank you.
I use it's everything is packed up right now. Uh, I can't remember the name. If I told you, I'd be lying to you. Uh, so it'd be better just to look it up.
Okay, thank you.
Name. Um, but I used it in a creek bed, and it came out pretty good. You can still see the definition of the toes and stuff, but it was still kind of gnarly. But the details came out, so it does work.
Very
That's
nice.
very cool. Thank you very much for the tip.
I'm excited for winter to be over. It seems like it's never ending this year. I can't wait to get back out there, and for all the snow to be gone. we have quite a bit of snow this winter up here in Minnesota. So yeah, I'm excited for spring.
All
So,
we had was rain.
Rain.
Oh, no.
You don't have any snow?
Well, we had some snow here too, but uh, most of our winter's been nothing but rain.
Gotcha. That was what it was like when we were down there. It was rain. Uh, so as far you find a lot of footprints, have you found any like den-like stick structures or anything like that too?
Yeah, we found rock stacks. I found certain type of structures. Uh, now I'll study the stick structures and stuff, but as far as that saying that a Bigfoot did it, I wasn't there. I didn't see him build it, so it's just speculation. I mean, I ain't gonna doubt nobody or tear nobody down, but I do find them fascinating. But like I said, I wasn't there when he built it, so I can't say it was.
So what did they look like? I mean, like what was the most average types that you've seen?
Teepees, teepee structures.
Okay.
Now sometimes we get big X's crossing our path back into our area. Uh, Glyphs. Sometimes in our gifting area, they'll leave a glyph. The sticks will be arranged in like a diamond or uh, some type of abstract shape. And our gifts will be gone and stuff like that. But I can't rule. Can't rule out that maybe somebody walked back here and did it.
Very true. And that's why, nothing can be accepted 100% unless it's literally on video. And even then, like you said, people are still probably going to be saying, not real,
I mean, you got to keep an open mind on everything.
We definitely do. I've experienced enough out there now that I don't doubt that these things are real. I have no doubt in my mind that they are real. The little teepee structures that aren't big enough for something to be in, I used to think that was really dumb. Like what would Bigfoot be doing with that? But then we found this den-like stick structure. It was absolutely humongous in the forest in our where we were looking at in Minnesota. And right outside of it was this little teepee structure that I used to think were just dumb hokey things that people thought maybe Bigfoot did. And I'm like, well, look here. Here's one of those right here. Now I'm going to believe in those because it took a lot of power to build this big structure that we found. And in that area, somebody was pulling big trees out of the ground and flipping them upside down with roots in the air. And there were no loggers back there. We were on an Indian reservation, and there were no logging companies back there or anything that would have been able to do that. So, whatever was doing this was pretty strong. And right outside of that, we found this little tiny teepee structure that I used to kind of dismiss when I would see those from everybody else. But now I'm like, okay, well, I'm not dismissing that anymore because here it is. I don't know what they're for, but what do you think they're for? Well, wait, I'm just noticing the time. We're going to come back for that question. Liz, we're going to go to our 2-minute break. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Sorry, I just noticed the time on that.
I didn't even see the time.
Yeah. We're still recording on our Skype video, which is cool. Doing good. So you have to remember my question now.
Stick structure.
Mm-hmm. One thing I noticed about Kentucky area, your trees are so big.
They are
They're big
tall and
compared
big.
to our trees.
Oh, there's some areas I could take you into, and uh, the valleys are so deep that the treetops are at the very top of the valley. And we're talking tall.
See, I would love to go out with you guys. That would be so fun.
And you guys have some squatchy spiders down there too. Oh my goodness.
Like that big.
All that. You getting bigger than that. We was walking through the woods one time, and I looked, and Rodney said, "Look at your chest." And there was one of these big ones on my chest. You know, when the spider webs go across the trails and stuff.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Hit me. I don't like spiders.
Ten. And roll.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and when we are not live on the air, you can find us online at thejourneyradioshow.com. And hey, we are the She-Squatchers, so check out our website at She-Squatchers.com. And will you please like our Facebook page, She-Squatchers Official, because that's where you're going to find all of our up-to-date, in-the-moment information. It's not on the website. Go check out Facebook. Give us a like there. And check out our YouTube channel, She-Squatchers Official. We're here tonight with Thomas Shay. He's an amazing researcher out of Kentucky. And we were just talking about little teepee stick structures. And I'm wondering if he has any ideas what they're for. So we're back to Thomas Shay. Going to ask him that question. Do you have any idea about what those smaller teepee-like stick structures are for?
Well, I've been doing a lot of Native American research on where they used to take arrows and spears and lances and put them in front of their villages and stuff, such as the X. The X meant welcome, friendship with the Native Americans at one time. When you'd walk in, it told everybody, you was welcome, they were friendly, I haven't really got into a whole lot of it, but I did find out about that. I think they're mimicking what we're doing. You never know, they might see somebody out there making a hunting blind and they're doing the same thing.
Could be. Well, I did notice the little teepee-like stick structures that were right outside of that big den-like stick structure that we found. And that just changed my mind about that. It totally did. But I used to go, I just don't see what the purpose of that would be before. But now I still don't exactly understand what the purpose of it is, but now I don't doubt that it could come from Bigfoot. So that changed. I think when you're doing this kind of research, you have to be open-minded because we obviously don't know all the answers. And, so I pick up information and I put it in my mystery bag. If I don't understand how it could be true, I still hang on to the information and see if it applies or fits into the puzzle somewhere down the road. So I think that's the only way we can really be in researching anything. I guess we have to be open-minded to see what could the answers be and, collect those puzzle pieces along the way. So yeah. Can I ask you about, have you had just a mind-blowing experience that you just couldn't put your mind around? Something we talked before the show about rocks being thrown or logs being thrown. What mind-blowing experiences have you had? I just can't wait to hear.
One of the biggest things is everybody always talked about these orbs, or lights in the areas. Well, I've never come across any of that stuff. And here recently, in the last 2 years, I have come across it. I've actually videotaped it. And and the last time, back in November, we went out and we had a couple of researchers a whole bunch of researchers with us. A couple of them broke off and went out walking the perimeter and everything. And they radioed back, said that somebody else was in the area with us. They was following them. They could see the headlamps. Well, I was in base camp, and I'm looking. I see the lights following them. But when I get out the night vision camera and look down there, there's nothing there. There's no heat signature. I see them, ahead of them. I see their signature, but back here where the lights were, there's nothing. Nothing at all. And that kind of made me feel kind of weird, What's causing these lights? We was in Betty. We was down in around Cave City, I think, somewhere around Mammoth Cave. We was asked to come down there, and a couple other people went with us and everything. And I had dozed off in my chair. And it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up, and two of the people were still awake, and they was talking about seeing this light weaving in and out of trees. And I kind of like, really? So I'm sitting there drinking a pop, and just lit me up a cigarette. And I happen to look over there, and I see this light. And it acts like it's intelligent, because it's actually weaving in and out of trees, this orange glow. And I'm sitting there going, that can't be true. It can't be right. I don't know what this is. That's when, we even got that on video. And I sat back and watched it over and over again, trying to figure out what that is. There's no form. It's just a ball of light. But it seems intelligent. And so
I want to see that video.
We've encountered things like that too. And, I'm part Native American. I know I look very light-skinned, but my mom is actually a tribal member of the Red Lake Band of Ojibwe Indians in northern Minnesota. And, those types of things are known to communicate with some of the people. And it's very, very interesting how that happens. And a lot of people don't know that they come out of the water. They typically come out of the water, but they fly through the air. And we did an experiment one time where we went to a location that had been very active for us, and we went back 3 weeks later with a couple of guys, and it was like it was a completely different place. So I said, we need to ditch these guys. So we had them drop us off and drive away. And we had radio walkie-talkies to call them to come back for us when we were ready. So they drove away, and they parked a certain amount away, and it was dark out. So when we turned on our flashlights, they could kind of see where we were through the woods. And one of my teammates' husbands, he said that he was watching this green light that was following us, but it was right above the trees, and it like stayed behind us, and it was like following us, and he was sure that we must have seen it, but we didn't. We hadn't seen it, and he watched it for 35 minutes. He said it was following you the whole time. This little green light that like it had been plucked out of a traffic light. The green light itself had been plucked out of a traffic light. And then it was, I suppose, probably a month later or so, I talked with some of the locals, and they said that when the green lights are near, that when the green lights appear, Bigfoot is near, because they always see Bigfoot right after they see the green lights. That was interesting. That was very interesting. So, I mean, we've seen the green lights. I've personally encountered the ones that look like fireballs in and out of the water. And then we actually videoed a white light that was in and out of the trees in the middle of a marshy bog that the landowner wouldn't give us permission to walk on because he said you could fall through. Nobody should be back there. And we had been investigating a Bigfoot sighting of a Bigfoot walking from one set of trees through this bog to the next set of trees. And so we parked out there at night with our binocular that can see pretty far at night. And we're just like scoping the area out, and all of a sudden there's these lights that I start seeing, and I'm like, Jena, can you see that in the binocular? And she did. We got a video of it. It's on our YouTube channel. But it's very bizarre, because we knew that there could be nobody back there. There was no road behind the trees where it could have been a car poking through. I mean, that was what I thought first. I was trying to think rationally, what could that be? But I looked at the whole area. There's no road behind that at all. So, I mean, we've experienced these lights as well. And, what are they exactly? Are they all the same thing?
No, you said the lights that you saw were orange, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think there's some kind of a meaning with each color. There's a meaning behind each color. So I'd like to look and see what that meaning is behind orange.
Well, I've seen orange, I've seen yellow, I've seen green, kind of a pinkish one. Now, I've seen foxfire, fireball of methane gas come up out of the ground and shoot across. I've seen that. This is not that. Now, 5 years ago, if you'd tell me a story about this here, I'd kind of like, what do y'all have out there,
What are you doing out there?
I woke up and they're telling me about it, and I'm kind of looking at them like they might have got in some poison ivy, poison oak or something,
Mm-hmm.
And about that time there, I see it, and I have to question myself, but I'm watching it. And some of these places, I took soil samples and even have them tested, because some places you get sulfur, you get copper, and you get iron mixed into the ground, water, you will get these lights. There's a place out west that happens in the desert. There's a river that runs through there, and it's a big iron deposit, and I think it's zinc. I think that's what it is, and sulfur. And at nighttime, at a certain time at night, it'll cause a chemical reaction, and these lights will show up. So I even took soil samples, had them tested, and none of that showed up. So
Interesting. See, I like you. I like the way you get right down to the bottom of it.
That's awesome.
We do a lot of this stuff. At least I try to. Like infrasound. Right now I'm doing tests with different sound frequencies out in the woods. We did a base test with humans. See what their reaction was. We didn't even tell them, but we got a reaction, and we got a certain hertz that we go to, and we blast it out in the woods. And if we don't get anything, we don't stop there. We go back, and we repeat the experiment. And actually, we've come across in the 2400 hertz area that we get a response. And it's only happened twice. So I need it to happen a couple more times in that same frequency, and then I got something. Then
What happened?
We get a wood knock.
From a specific frequency you put out there, you get a wood knock.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe like a dog whistle type of deal, They hear it where we can't, and they respond to it. I don't know if that's the case or not. I still got to do a whole lot more of these tests like that out there in the woods, see if I get more responses. And if I do, then I'll write it up, everything I got. I even put down my temperature that day, the wind speed, phase of the moon, if it was cloudy, partly cloudy, if it was drizzle. I always put all that stuff down, because there might be a pattern. So
That's true. There could be.
And that's the thing. The more that we record, the better we can track things, and the more we can get together and we can track these things and say, okay, well, what was the temperature? What was the, what was this? What was that? What was it? The air pressure, the, time of day. It all makes a difference.
Yeah, animals have a, you know, animals can predict when a storm's going to come, when bad weather, and then they'll start to hunker down or feed better. Predators will feed more, and animals will graze more, and then they'll start to bed down. There's no movement or nothing. So maybe these creatures do the same thing. There's a whole lot of things we can try out there. We got to work. A lot of people make fun of me because I work outside the box.
That's wonderful.
I don't go out just chase looking for a picture or nothing like that. I'm doing other stuff. Like I said, the frequencies, sighting patterns during the year. I get more sightings in one area than the other. Why? So there's a lot to do. But what I'm doing is I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself.
That's awesome.
That's the important part.
That's what makes you a good researcher.
Yes.
You enjoy what you do. And you don't care what anybody else says.
That's the big one. Yeah, if you're going to sit there and worry about what someone says, why are you even doing it? Because people will bring you down. I'm not good. Sorry. You can't bring me down. We're doing this for us. Like Jen said, we have fun to do this. We're doing this for fun too. And like we're finding these things. We want to share with other people. But if you're going to bring us down, sorry. Don't knock on my door.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about, people talk about the Dogman. Do you believe in the Dogman?
I have a couple of reports, actually 8 reports that I've investigated. The first one, the lady, she was an elderly lady. I mean, she's well-to-do. And she called me up and told me what she saw. And I said, well, can you meet me there? And we did the next day. And she was telling me about where it walked out and everything. She goes, but the one thing about it had a tail. For the first report, it had a tail. And I'm thinking, okay, it must have got hold of a vine and it's dragging a vine, on its leg or something. That's what she's seeing. Well, a couple of weeks later, another gentleman calls me up, not too far from there, and tells me this story about he saw a Bigfoot and it had a tail. And so I meet with him, find out what type of person he is. And this gentleman here, I mean, he's a bank manager up there in Indianapolis. He has a home down here, and it was during the flooding what we had. He came down to check on his property. He has a little trailer set next to the river, and he checked on it, and that's where he saw it. And then the reports kept coming over and over and over again, and every one of them a tail, but nobody said anything about a snout. So Dogman might be a misidentification of a Bigfoot. It might be deformed, as you might say, humans sometimes get that deformity where the face sticks out more than regular rest of us. So it could be. I'm not saying there's a werewolf out there, but I'm just saying that, there's a lot of possibilities. Somebody's seeing something, a lot of well-respected people who see something and then look up people in that area and then report it. And when you talk to these people, you can tell who's telling you a big fib and who's not. So there's something out there that people are calling Dogman, but I think it's more of a Bigfoot.
Gotcha.
You gotta understand, humans also can sometimes grow a tail.
That's true. That's very true. I haven't seen it myself yet, but I know that it happens. I don't think that people are allowed to grow up with their tail. I think they they usually cut them off when they're born
Yeah.
with them now.
Yeah.
Well, these people that were telling you about this being that they saw, or this creature that they saw, did they explain how long the tail was, what it looked like, if it was thin, if it was thick, full of hair? Or did they?
It said it wasn't like a dog's tail. It was more like a monkey's tail.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, it wasn't real furry or nothing bushy, but more of a snake-like tail. So
Huh.
Now, how big were these creatures? Were they large?
no, it ranged from anywhere from 5.5 to 6 foot.
Okay. So up here, up in the Midwest, in South Dakota, the Dakota Indians have talked to me about the Chahotnas, which is spelled Canotina, but they pronounce it Chahotna, and they're the what they call the little people of the woodland trees. And when you ask them what they look like, they're described as basically looking like Bigfoot, except they're smaller, and they live in the trees and the forest. And specifically, a lot of the Dakota Indians have told me to go to Seecha Hollow Park, it's a state park in South Dakota, and that Bigfoot is always near the Chahotnas, and that Chahotnas are just smaller, but they're full grown. And I guess I said, are you sure they're not baby Bigfoots? But I do believe Chahotnas have tails. I do believe Chahotnas have tails. And interestingly enough, I was talking to Andy McGrath from England, and he was talking about the little hairy fairy people, which are basically described the same way, looking like Bigfoot, but they're full grown and smaller. And then there was also a case where I was seeing and talking to natives from Alaska and out that way, that I saw drawings of what they call the little people, and they look like Bigfoot, just smaller. So I wonder if it could be something like that.
I don't know. It could be. Uh,
Interesting. Very interesting. Because
That is
Bigfoot isn't
very.
normally reported to have a tail, is he?
who?
Bigfoot.
No.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
I think that's an interesting concept, Jen. I can't wait to talk to you more about it.
Well, when we talked about the Chahotnas, they don't look like people. They literally look like some type of a ape-like creature that's looking like Bigfoot. But these ones apparently have tails, and they don't get as big as Bigfoot does. So I think that's interesting.
Very.
That we're coming across stories from different parts of the world. It's interesting. Yeah. Do you go after looking for other types of things that are unknown, unproven creatures in the forest?
Oh, I've been on giant lizard hunts. A couple people have seen some giant lizards. To come to find out, they're just escaped iguanas.
Oh no.
Yeah, very large iguanas, but they'll die out, in the wintertime. But yeah, we come across. I've casted some prints of them. Uh, actually took a photograph of one, and it actually stretched across a 2-lane road from head to toe.
Wow.
Uh, Also, a monitor lizard. Somebody had a pet monitor lizard that outgrew itself, and I found a carcass on that, and it was about 5 foot long. So,
Oh, I've only seen them small. I didn't know they could get that big.
oh, it was a big one.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
I've been called out on some other stuff. Somebody seen a mountain lion one time and called me out to check it out, and I did cast a print of a big cat here.
Did anything come of it?
A lot of people saw it, but we ain't got no pictures of it. But I do have the cast of it, of the print, where it was out in the field. It was in an alfalfa field, and it just happened to it killed a turtle. It was eating a turtle,
Interesting.
and the tracks were out there in the field, and I casted one of them, and the print was about like that. It was a big cat.
Wow.
Huh.
But, I've
We are.
never done,
Oh, go ahead.
I've never done no UFO things. Okay. I've had a couple of people call me up on that, and I just don't do that because, for one, is how am I going to research something like that? It's already done and gone. You know, you can tell me about it. I mean, when I go out there and look at the area and stuff like that, but I have no evidence. I have nothing to put out there.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. It's harder to unless it appears when you're there, which the chances are not good for that. We're coming up to the end of the show here. Is there a place online where people can find you if they would like to contact you or follow your research somewhere?
Yes, I'm on bigfootlore.blogspot.com, and I'm on Facebook too, Northern Kentucky Bigfoot Research Group on Facebook, and most everything I write down on the blog or share to the blog I share on my Facebook page. So
Very cool. Very cool. And do you have any events coming up that you'd like to tell about?
the I'll be going to Wildman Days the 1st of June. I'll be going there and setting up and speaking. So
Wildland Days. Where is that at?
that's in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. It's a real good street festival, Bigfoot. Uh, you got to get hold of check with Lee and Jennifer and or Jeff Waldridge and ask them about it or look it up. And it's a real good show. People come from miles around everywhere and come there to the festival, and it's really nice. You get to see a lot of people, a lot of other researchers. Here's some good people.
Very nice. Very nice. We love going to events and meeting other researchers and
Yes.
having making those awesome connections with other people that enjoy doing what we love doing and probably been doing it longer than us. So we get to learn so much from y'all. And thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I'm hoping maybe you'll come back another time and share some more with us a later date. That'd be awesome. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next week and stay squatchy. Good night, everyone.
Good night.